First, the US government cancels all cruising to Cuba. Then the Norwegian Cruise Lines shuts down its open bar policy on the Norwegian Sky and the Norwegian Sun. You can hear the sirens. It's cruising anarchy. But what does it really reveal about why we choose the cruises that we do? Let's talk about it right after this. Anarchy. Hey, what's up everybody? Tony with Lido, Loca. Welcome to the YouTube channel. If you're brand new here and if you enjoy cruising, consider subscribing. Ring the notification bell, that way you don't miss out on any of our new content. Yes, just last month the US government has shut down all cruising to Cuba, and one of the cruise lines that was primarily using this open bar technique for cruises to Cuba, they've now done away with it. Here's the details of the story. Norwegian Cruise Line in 2016, in order to be more competitive in the Miami market, introduced an open bar policy on the Norwegian Sky and then later the Norwegian Sun. These cruises were primarily 3- and 4-day itineraries, with Cuba as one of the port stops, often an overnighter in Havana, and on those cruise ships they used an open bar, which meant that at any bar on the cruise ship, any person booked on the cruise ship of legal age to drink could get a beer, a wine, a mixed drink up to the value of $11. The target there was to compete with the other cruise lines in Miami, primarily Royal Caribbean and Carnival Cruise Lines, and give a different type of cruise for the 3- to 4-day cruiser. What's interesting in this scenario is Norwegian's cruise prices were usually $100 or $200 more than the competitive prices on Royal Caribbean and Carnival Cruise Lines, but what they found after including this open bar amenity is that they were still able to fill up their cruise ships at the higher price point. A leading executive from Norwegian talked about this back in 2017 and said the fact that they could see the success in the Norwegian Sky, not only in their satisfaction scores but the ability to book the cruise ship at a higher price, is that they were starting to get passengers that may not necessarily be looking at the lowest price when booking their cruise. And I know for me, when I first started cruising, I always went to see what the cheapest price was, but I didn't necessarily do the value calculation. And I think that's where I'm trying to evolve to as a cruiser. We're only a couple years into it. We've started working in the travel business, starting understanding what the different charges on the cruise lines are. And this value proposition's really come to the forefront. I am still enticed by when I look at cruise fares. When I pull up all the cruises on the computer, I always sort by the least amount per night, and I start from there. Now that we've experienced a few different cruise lines, I start to factor things in, like what do the extras cost? Does one have a cheaper specialty dining option than the other? How good is the entertainment? It doesn't cost anything to go to the entertainment, but is that part of my value proposition? Would I pay up a little bit for a better show, a different kind of experience? I also look at what the different amenities on the cruise ship are. Does the cruise ship have water slides, or does the cruise ship have a sushi bar? You know, those kind of things. You can often find a very inexpensive cruise, but when you start stacking it up to something that costs just a little bit more, you might be surprised what the value proposition is. That's still evolving for me, and hopefully I can speak about it more, but I wanted to share with you this story about the Norwegian cruise ships doing away with open bar, and then just highlight this idea of the lowest price isn't always the most valuable price. And I wanted to kick the conversation into the community down in the comments to ask you guys, what do you look at when you book a cruise? How do you weigh price versus value? And maybe throw loyalty in that. How do you weigh price versus value versus loyalty when choosing your next cruise? Let's continue the conversation below. If you found this interesting, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. This is Tony with Lido, Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.